Hi guys, Adrian Cahill here, NLP trainer and coach. I'm going to share with you guys a video about how to help your clients quit smoking from start to finish. Now, you might want to help your clients quit smoking. One, because if you learn this, you can change it from smoking to alcohol and other addictions. Two, it's a unique and wonderful way to start a business. If you've done training and you don't have a full house or you want more clients, well, selling quit smoking programs is a great way to start, if that's your niche. Now, for me, it wasn't really in the niche. However, some of my students, a lot of my students, have kind of struggled to get their first, say the first 5-10 clients, right? They're often struggling to make their first, say, 6 figures or whatever. And if you can really nail the addiction process, it is a great way for you to step up and be a successful coach, NLP therapist, hypnotherapist. When you can guarantee people will be able to quit smoking with 2 hours of your time in your package, yeah, once you are able to guarantee this and confidently sell it, provide it, do it, those people will never forget you. And it's just a matter of time till they come back for more or share with their friends. So it's really important you can smash this process. And what I found through my experience was a lot of NLP courses will give you the building blocks. Yeah, and you might go get new pieces here, or you might go see someone there, right? I saw Richard Bandler did some advanced hypnosis stuff. Stephen Gilligan for a couple of weeks, more advanced hypnosis and trance work. John Grinder, great stuff, but I was missing the framework. So let me lay it out for you here. Okay, so business benefits, you do this with smoking, you can do it for other things, and it's a great thing to offer your clients. The first thing is we want to start with the actual first contact with the client. So they call you up or they email you. If they email or message, you want to get them on the phone. Telephone, voice conveys so much more information. The step one is that initial phone call. Obviously, we want to take notes, but I do use an intake form. Hit me up, I'm confident and I'm happy to share it with you. So when people call up, I want to take down some notes and run them through a bit of an intake process. Obviously, in this intake process, I'm asking them about their motivation. Why? Why now? What have you tried before? Great. What I have is different. And with these questions, we're looking for a few things. We're looking for their motivation. Are they moving towards something or away from something? Do they have like an internal frame of reference or an external frame of reference? Are they doing this for themselves? Are they doing this for others? Also want to check, are they inquiring about the quitting for themselves or for someone else? And is it for tobacco or something else, right? So we ask them those basic questions and we're determining their motivation. Obviously, that will come in later. Now, I remember 7 years ago meeting a lady. She guaranteed her anti or quit smoking package. She guaranteed it. And she said one way she can guarantee it is by taking on the right clients. So in this initial call, we're determining if we're a match. If the client wants to quit, but the motivation is low, chance of success low. If they're buying it for someone else, chances very low. But if they're buying it for themselves, and if they're ready to change, if they're really ready and they're keen, much more likely to get success. And if you're putting a guarantee on your work, and a guarantee on quitting is very tricky. You put a guarantee on quitting and that's just going to tempt them more to retake up the habit and get their money back. So, step one, telephone call. Why? Why you want to quit? Why now? And we're listening for towards motivation, away motivation, internal reference, external reference. Are they doing this for themselves or are they doing this for others? I'd like to suggest taking an upfront payment. at least a deposit prior to the session. I'd like to sell quit smoking program as like 3 sessions. Yeah, perhaps 4 hours. Yep, now you could make it a big 2-hour session and a follow-up session and a follow-up session. Yep, or perhaps your big session ends up being a bit longer. First time, you might want to spend 3 hours for the first time and then a follow-up session. So I'd like to recommend allocating 4 hours, payment up front for the whole 4 hours. Yeah, could be $400 US, $800 US, take your pick, make it $1,000. If you have a nice guarantee in there, make it $1,000. Why not? If they really want to do it and they pay the $1,000, high chance of success. As I mentioned, problems with guarantees with addiction. People might want to resume later on so they can get the $1,000 back, right? So I haven't figured that bit out, so I just don't guarantee it. $1,000 up front, we're doing it, we're getting a result. If not, if we don't get a result, I won't take you on. And if I charge something like $1,000, then I can give them an extra hour or two, it's no big deal. Okay, so payment up front, payment over the phone, get their details, PayPal, whatever, get the payment in before starting. If they hesitate and they don't pay, they won't quit. Okay, so let's say they do pay, then they turn up. If they pay, they'll turn up. If they don't pay, they won't turn up, they won't quit. So they pay, they turn up, and before they turn up, you want to give them 1 or 2 prior instructions. So final thing with the payment is, by the way, small condition, not allowed to smoke on the day you come and see me. And I'll smell it. Yeah. Or no smoking for at least 3 hours before seeing me. Preferably not that day. Not that day means the nicotine is going to be out of their system. Yeah, nicotine will largely be out of their system. And then when they come and see me, they may have an urge or a compulsion to smoke. And during our session, we may have a compulsion to smoke and we may actually use that. So no smoking on the day you see me. Okay. Client comes up, print out your intake form, and I don't normally do this, but I will use intake forms for addictions. Put on my little thing and it gives me like a structure and I seem more like someone they're familiar with. And all my questions are here, and you can even put your processes in there. It's an intake form. You might want to get them to do the start. Now you give it to them and they do the start, take it back. You give it to them and they do it, what is that? Compliance. Yeah. When they come in, if they haven't smoked all day, compliance. If they've smoked in the last hour, they've broken the rules, it's discompliance, and you need to make sure we get the compliance back. Compliance is very important, especially if you're a hypnotist. Okay, so you get them to do the start of the form, you take the form back and you ask a question, so you keep it here and you can go through the questions with them. Okay, they haven't smoked. If they have smoked, well, you can amplify that. If you have smoked before coming here, it's probably going to take you a bit longer. Pre-frame, pre-frame, pre-frame. I am pre-framing there that it's going to take a bit longer. You know, we've got 4 hours, we've got this planned, and you've smoked before coming here, so it might take you longer. You're going to have to work twice as hard to quit, okay? Put the emphasis back on them. It's going to be twice as hard for you to quit. If they haven't smoked all day, great. You know it's already half out of your stream. Your heart is probably feeling better already. Your lungs, your body is feeling better already. You're already on the way. The fact that you can get this far through the day without smoking is a great sign, and you're going to find this process today easy, naturally, and you're going to walk out of here a whole new person if you haven't already started changing already now. Sorry, a little time thing. Okay, now some of the questions I'd like to ask them, obviously, what have you tried before? Question 1, what have you tried before? Great. And when they list out some things that they've tried, you might want to point out, yep, that wouldn't work because of that. That shows you're the expert. And if they are telling you what hasn't worked and you can support them, you're on their side. Remember, pace, lead. Why didn't they think that stuff worked? And third is, what did work? Yeah. Take notes. Again, we're looking for their motivation. And we're looking for ammunition. What did work? You can have them thinking about all the things that have worked. and what has worked to help you get through other addictions. Clients give you valuable information here. Yeah, I don't think it worked because I didn't have a plan. Great. We're going to make sure you have a plan today. Oh, I don't think it worked because I didn't go into a deep trance. Oh, great. You're going to love this today. I did like that I got to go into a trance and I got to see things. Great. We're definitely going to do more of that, and it's going to be even better. Okay, so everything they feed you, you're utilizing. Utilization, key skill, right? So utilizing everything, making down some notes. Your notes will also possibly be anchors. Okay, now, what's your reason for wanting to give up smoking until today? Yeah? And that will tell you their reasons why. They might say things like, well, I don't want to die. I don't want to die young. You know, it's bad for my health or the smell or whatever. By the way, I actually last did this earlier on today, which is why I thought I'd do this video for you now. So they're going to tell you some reasons, and you want to list out their reasons. All their reasons are like presuppositions, their beliefs. So what we have to do is we have to smash all their reasons, yeah? Yep. Now, the reasons for quitting smoking, like smoking is bad for my health, yeah, we want to amplify that, yeah? Reason for not being able to quit, like I didn't have a good routine, great. That's something we're going to work on. Okay, so what are the previous things you tried? What didn't work? Why do you think it didn't work? What did work? Great. What are your reasons for smoking up until today? Get the reasons. Listen again for those towards, away, internal, external frame of reference. While you're doing this, ask them perhaps, oh, when's the last time you had a cigarette? Watch for their eyes, yeah? So you can ascertain their eye patterns. Remember, up and one way. Generally, when you look at them, if their eyes are up to the right, you're getting created. Yeah? Up to the left, you're getting remembered. Maybe that backwards. In fact, I often teach that there's no particular way, I mean, it's left or right, but you want to calibrate it for each client. Now, maybe 80% of people are one way, so whoever you have, just ask them something where they remember the answer, yeah? And then ask them something where they create the answer, you'll see it, yeah? Or you can ask them a reason why. I mean, if they're going to be looking largely on the remembered side, yeah? Now, when you ask them why do they think that is, or what's the possibility of the creation of that, they might fit the other side. So you can ascertain which way is remembered and what side is created. That will come into play later, especially if you have them remembering things, yeah? For those that have done NLP and eye patterns, when we do something like this, we might talk about our friend over here, and what we might be doing is we might be having their eyes go up and to the creation side or to the remembered side to assist the change work. Okay, next along the line, we want to ask them, why at this moment? Why at this moment now do you want change? Great, next one. Have you been hypnotized before? Get their past experience on hypnosis. What we want to do here is pre-frame how powerful hypnosis is and how awesome it is. A lot of people have had weak hypnosis experiences. That's okay. A lot of people do a 5-day NLP course or a 7-day NLP course and they have hypnosis certificate. So tons of people are considered hypnotists or hypnotherapists, but they've had really shit training. So a lot of the times your client will say, yeah, I had hypnosis training, but it wasn't really that good. Great. Well, you're going to have a wonderful experience here today. I've got some notes here for my client today, and my client said, I was worried a GP tried to hypnotize me once. I thought he might try to talk me into clucking like a chicken, so I didn't really like it. Great. So when she said that, I rolled with it, and I spoke to her about how pre-framing. I've pre-framed how her unconscious will protect her, and her unconscious wants to protect her. And if she wants to cluck like a chicken, she can, if it's safe. But if she doesn't want to cluck like a chicken and it's not safe, she won't. I can't do anything. Now, what I can do is I can help shine the torch in the darkness. I can help you think about things that will be very important for you to quit smoking today. Pre-frame. I'll be helping shine the torch in areas so you'll find many new ways to go through life without cigarettes, and you're going to love that. So then I kind of pre-frame hypnosis that is really easy. Now, in actual fact, the client is pretty much in a trance as soon as they come into your office. They're in a I'm seeing a therapist trance. So all through the process, they're in trance or different trance-like states. We talk about the hypnosis part so that they think the hypnosis part comes later. So we'll do the hypnosis part towards the end. The hypnosis part is the moment they walk in. But by telling them it's at the end, that means they're expecting something at the end. They're not expecting it now. I'm just doing the intake form. I haven't started any change work yet. Okay, so their guard is down. So we actually start doing trance and suggestions, direct and indirect suggestions, maybe metaphors, maybe nested loops, a whole pile of anchoring, collapsing anchors that we can do before we even get to the hypnosis part, because it's a lot. It's just an intake form. It's just an intake form. They don't recognize it. So you're doing a lot of the change work, outside of that obvious position. Now, if they are, worried about, I want to quit, but I don't really want to quit. Yeah. Their guard's going to be down. But when we get to the hypnosis part, the guard's going to be up. Yeah. So while the guard's down, no, we're not doing hypnosis yet. What would it be like if you completely changed everything now? Their guard will be down, so we make the changes, okay? Next along the lines. How long have you been identifying yourself as a smoker? How long have you been identifying yourself as a smoker? Put separation between them and the smoker. No one was born a smoker. It's an identity that you've assumed. You can talk about that if you want. You're not a smoker. You're not a smoker. Look right now, you're talking. Are you a talker? We don't call you a talker. You're a human being. Yeah, so how long have you been identifying yourself as a smoker? What are the physical problems experienced as smoking? What are the physical symptoms you're having? What's the worst thing about those symptoms? What's the worst thing about those symptoms? And who else suffers? Dig a hole of pain. Dig a hole of pain there. What's it been costing you financially? What's it costing you to walk to the shops as a victim? Walk to the shops as a victim in the morning. Oh, I need my cigarettes. Yeah, what's that costing you? And how does it feel walking down the shops because you've got to buy cigarettes? Right? Spending money on cigarettes instead of healthy food. Okay, so maybe figure out the maths. Do this on the fly, right? Do the maths with them. Someone said the maths wasn't important. I know it's a lot of money. Great. Okay, so roughly how much do you think a week or a year? One particular lady just recently, $200 a week, 52 weeks. Great. How many years? Oh shit, you're looking at $300,000. This one last lady, $300,000. Now the thing is, dear, if you had invested that money, every 10 years, the house of prices double, right? So 30 years smoking, that's you would have been able to get a house and it would have doubled and doubled again. So you probably could have, if you would have put that money into property, she was thinking 300,000 and I'd be, but if you invested that and it doubled every 10 years, you'd be looking at something like $1.2 million now. How would your life be different with $1.2 million? Scratching head, being curiosity. We're blowing up the pain. We're blowing up the cost. Okay, now a bit more for the cost though. So what's the cost or the opportunity cost? If we invested that money instead of smoking. The money and effort you put into walking down the shops to buying cigarettes, the stress you have, the amount of stress and time you've spent trying to quit. What's that? Time, energy, money, focus, yeah? Great. Now, considering all that, sorry, no, that wasn't that comfortable. God, $1.2 million you could have had, dear. Why didn't you come and see me 30 years ago? Okay, now look. Look, I'm starting to cough now just from being new. What about the smell? Isn't it great to be able to smell fresh air? Great. Now, what I'd like for you to think about is what else could you do? Who else could you become if you didn't smoke? If you started to get your health back, your breath back, your lungs back, started to lose the wrinkles, started becoming fit and healthy again. What if you spent that money on like healthy food or personal development or spiritual development? Yep, sit down for a while, brainstorm. Look, I'll put the notes to the side. Have some paper out. I want you to write a couple of points. You could use your normal writing hand, write out some points. Yeah, and then 5 minutes later or 3 minutes later, I say, okay, great. Now let's swap hands and use your other hand. And now maybe draw some symbols. And I want you to consider what else. So we use the right for the right hand, left brain is normal. Yeah, logic. Your normal writing hand gives you the logic. Get the other hand, and they can start using the other half of the brain and get more creative answers. So I get them to think and talk about all the other things they can do. And what we start to do is we start to open up all the other possibilities. Someone that's been focused on quitting smoking, they've been looking at their cigarette. They've been focused there. They've been focused on that. They've been focused on the cigarettes. And while they've been focused on that, they've been missing the whole world. A lot of their life has slipped by while they've been focused on that shit. So let's start to dream about the other things that's possible. Have them dreaming and thinking about that. Great. Okay, that's a lot of your groundwork. And now we start going into the more obvious processes. Okay. Now here's the next step, or the next question here. And you can change some of these processes, but I like to do it in this particular order. What age did you begin smoking? And smokers generally have a clear memory of the first time they began smoking. So right there, do timeline therapy or do the movie theater induction, like the fast phobia cure. So go into a movie theater, hop in the middle, see yourself on the movie having your first cigarette. And just before you have your first cigarette, notice how your being was before the cigarette. Watch it. Pause it at the end. Sorry. Now, what you might want to do here is you might want to pause it. And you might want to ask them, were you being authentic? Were the other people around you being authentic? Were you being authentic? You think the first time they were having a cigarette, they were being authentic? No. Do you think the people around them were being authentic? No. Of course they weren't. So then I asked them, what limiting beliefs were formed here? And generally they'll say things like, oh, smoking's cool, smoking gives me a group, and smoking gives me this benefit, smoking gives me that benefit. And I say, great. So from a pile of people being inauthentic, you came up with a pile of beliefs like that. Wonderful. Pace, lead. Perhaps make it blazingly obvious. So you got a pile of people being inauthentic, smoking, and you came up with these beliefs. So obviously those beliefs are inauthentic. Anyway, so you see all the beliefs are made up. We've just pointed out how they're inauthentic and how they were created. Let's go back to the movie scene. Restart the process. What do you want to change in the movie scene? A few ways you can handle the movie scene. What you can do, and what I've learned, is that you can mess up the movie. Take the qualities out, make it black and white. Another thing you can do is you can coach the person on the screen. Have a conversation with the person on the movie screen. Ask them what needs them there. Ask them what they need so they don't have to smoke. Yep. Ask them and coach them. So then comes the process of coaching their younger self. Yeah. So they can go and coach their younger self on the screen and give their younger self the resources they need. Coach the younger self, give them the resources they need. Watch the movie play through differently. Watch the movie play out further in life, noticing that the person has all the resources they need to go on through life. Yeah. Alternatively, you can bring up a younger version of themselves before smoking, and their even younger version can coach the person on the screen. If you're doing split people, at the end, bring that person from the screen down, have them walk on stage, have them walk down to the next one, embrace them, hold, hug, melt, thank them, and melt into one person. So you can bring all people back down and bring them inside. Seeing their younger self will have a large effect on them. Giving them the resources, having the reconnection, it's a great experience. But what we primarily want to do is we want to smash the beliefs that were formed in that moment and use that opportunity to install greater beliefs. There's a fair chance that that first time smoking involved connecting with others. Yeah, it might have been connecting with themselves, connecting with a group, being cool, group of kids, hanging out, being a rebel, being like mum and dad, whatever. But the resources they could probably use more of is to connect with themselves. So what if they taught a younger self to breathe in and let go? Yeah. So use it as an opportunity to crush the initial beliefs and install better strategies for coping. Okay, and then bring him out of the movie theater. Bring him out of the movie theater. Great. Now, by the way, that's just a little process. That was not really hypnotic, just a little bit. We're just getting warmed up, okay? Refill coffee cups. Okay, next. Now, my next question is, look at the individual beliefs they have stopping them from smoking. Remember before I asked them the reasons for not smoking, not quitting smoking. Now I want to ask them, all their reasons for not smoking, we want to smash. So one reason for not smoking is it's a social connection. Yep. Now I have my question here exactly is repeat with the reasons for them not smoking. Yep. Limiting beliefs. So what are the limiting beliefs? Right. She said that it's social connection. It's like a family, a group. Great. B is, well, when and what purpose? Well, when and what purpose is the smoking? Well, the purpose is to smoke and get the connection. Great. Question C. That's the way you've been. How do you want to be different? Yeah. That's the way you've been. Past. That's the way you've been. How do you want to be different? That's the way you've been. How do you want to be different? Yep. So that's the way you've been in the past. How do you want to be different? Yeah, eyes up to the rampant. Yep, unless they're reverse. Okay, now they might have the belief about social connection or family group. Well, what's the purpose of that? To connect for love. What's the purpose of that? To connect it to myself. Okay, well, look, the way you've been in the past has been getting connection from other people, and the smoking, which is actually destroying you, and it's going to mean that all of you end up dying young instead of being together. But what if there was a different way? You know, surely there's another way you can be different, right? I mean, isn't there a way that you can kind of see yourself being connected without having to kill yourself? Like, what's a way you can really connect deeply with yourself and maybe, I don't know, have some other great effects, like, you know, getting out there and like improving your garden, yeah, or exercising, yeah? Okay, so I've got my hand up because I want their eyes up in the visual creation, and I want to see them looking up in that direction and creating pictures of themselves doing alternative behavior. Okay? Now I repeat this with every reason they've given me, or every sufficient reason. So they've given me 3 reasons, right? Ritual, it's a meditation, it's a habit. I repeat through all of them. What's the limiting belief? Or when and what's the purpose? That's the way you've been. How do you want to be different? That's the way you've been. How do you want to be different? Yep. So I repeat that for the different reasons they have. Now, I don't always do it, but sometimes there's extra questions on here, right? I didn't do it today, but I'll often ask, okay, well, when in the last week, when did you smoke? What was your routine? They're on like 5-10 cigarettes a day. That's going to be easy. That's often morning coffee, morning here, morning there. Okay, morning coffee, great. What are 3 alternatives you can do instead? Coffee after sex, great. Hope it was good sex. What are 3 alternatives you could do instead? Now, if you do those alternative behaviors, what could happen instead? Yep. So you can spend half an hour in there if you want to. Look at the times they smoke. Look at alternative behaviors. What could happen if they did them? What could happen if they did them? What could happen if they did them? So take them through the different times they smoke and all the different things as possible. Someone that goes outside for a smoke break, say 5 times a day, I'm outside having a 5-minute smoke break, excellent. Well, what if you were to go outside and do 5 5-minute meditations? That would be life-changing. That would change, that would, like, your consciousness would bloody explode, if that's what you really want to do. Would you like to be like an awakened spiritual human, like, you know, superhuman? What if you went outside and did 5 minutes of just... Okay? So you can do that, use the logic, left brain if you like to do that, or have them visualize it and use a right brain. I would suggest more so using the right brain or whole brain rather than just saying. If they're just saying it and saw left brain logic, not going to be that effective. So if they say it and see it, at least you get the left and the right brain. Okay, so now you've been through the times they smoke and alternative behaviors and the benefits of doing those alternative behaviors, yeah? There shouldn't be much reason for them left to smoke. So there I asked them, is there any remaining resistance to changes, or have all the old reasons now transformed to support the new you? Yet any remaining ones, it's okay. Be honest. Any remaining resistance left? Fair chance it could be. Okay, write them down. We'll get to them. Next question. Now this is a question, but it's actually it's actually an opportunity for us to put in suggestions. Remember the core human needs from Tony Robbins? Core human needs. Safety, security, number 1. Variety, difference, number 2. Connection or love, number 3. 4, respect. So here I question at 19, how and who would you be being so positively affected by this new you emerging through? How will you find more safety and security, certainty in yourself? How will you find? You will find more security inside of you. You will find more comfort. How will you find more comfort inside of yourself? So it's a question / direct command. Yep. B, how will you find more variety? How will you find? You will find more comfort, more security. How will you find more adventure, more perhaps variety in life? How will you find more connection being a non-smoker? How will you find more connection? You will find more connection being respectful and being respected. How will you find more respect in this world? Or how will you find more significance in this world? By being a non-smoker. So we start to tie all those core human needs to being a non-smoker rather than a smoker. A lot of smokers will get their needs met through smoking. I get a sense of connection through smoking. I get a sense of variety. I smoke in different places, smoke different stuff, variety. I get respect through smoking because my smoking circle respects me when I smoke. I get a sense of connection because I have a special bond with other smokers. All bullshit. So replace all this bullshit with more supporting bullshit. Because, you know, going outside the building for 5 minutes and breathing, and smelling the roses, that is comfort. Yeah, that is significance in yourself. That is connection. That is resourceful. Yeah. So we're going to disconnect all those old ways of getting those needs met through cigarettes, through getting them through the new you. Okay. Next, what will you be believing about yourself once you have this change? What will you be believing about yourself? So have them think about what they're going to be believing and thinking when they change. Yeah? How will you be as a healthier person? Have them start to think about, well, I could go for a walk if I wanted to. I could go for a walk to the coffee shop in the morning if I wanted to. I could meet with more people if I wanted to. Now, the next thing I do is I talk about smoking associating into the cigarette. Did you bring your cigarettes? It's great if they bring their cigarettes. Now, what smokers typically do is smokers typically dissociate from their problems and associate into the smoking. Okay, so let's say I've had a busy day and I've got all this shit to do. I go outside for a smoke. On the way out, my attention's on the cigarette. I'm going out for a smoke. My attention is in the smoke. I go outside, I'm in the smoke. My attention goes into the smoke. If you imagine someone who has an addiction to sugary food, and you have a sugary muffin or a donut, their attention goes into the food, not on the outside, it goes in. So when they focus on the cigarette or tobacco, packet of tobacco, it goes in and in it, right? So this has them associating in, and that is a fundamental problem. While they're going in, they're missing everything else in the world. And they know this, but they don't know it. When you tell them, they'll be like, boom, that's right. So every time you've been going out for a cigarette, you've been missing the whole friggin' world. Everything's been going by. Well, you've been focused on that thing. Okay? So let them know about this. And now we're going to do a process to get rid of this, okay? We're going to do a process to change this, okay? Now, one particular technique, which is really, really good here, which is to do basic anchoring or collapsing of anchors, right? So you know from before the things they don't want. So let's say, what hand do you normally smoke with? I don't know. Oh, are you right-handed or left? Right. I bet you smoke with your right hand, especially in Australia, because the way you drive a car, you know, a lot of gears will be down here. So right hand out the window, right hand out the window, you know, that's common for a lot of smokers. I think Europe, maybe you in the other hand, so they can ash out the window. Okay, so let's say you got a right hand smoker. Let's imagine your right hand right there. I want to put something there right in your hand. Do you normally smoke like up here or down there? Go down there. Oh, fuck. Get a cigarette out. Put a cigarette in their finger. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to look at your hand or look at the cigarette, right? Now, right there, I want you to make a symbol. Now, that symbol could be $1.2 million that you burned. Okay? That symbol could be a jar full of cigarette butts that has been like fermenting and it's all black and gooey. You know what an ashtray tastes like, right? But you know what an ashtray smells like, especially after there's been water in there? What about a bottle? Imagine your lungs. God, there must be thick black shit in there. So anyway, imagine, go back to what they've told you, whatever problems they have, maybe cancer, put all the poison and make the hand, perhaps the cigarette, if they got the cigarette with them. They don't always bring cigarettes, they often leave in the car when they come for a session, right? Have the cigarette become the anchor or the symbol in the hand to represent the cigarette. But we're going to transfer the anchor from logo, eczema, our past. We're going to get all the negative anchors and we're going to put all those negative anchors inside the cigarette. Okay. So you say, okay, you get all the bad stuff and set up a negative anchor in their right hand or a cigarette and have them look at the end of the cigarette if they got them and write on the tip of the cigarette butt, I want you to see all that bad stuff there, all that tar, all that toxins, and this is the thing that is killing you, and this thing will give you cancer in 10 years. This thing is like a friend, only it's a friend that keeps borrowing money and lying about it. This is a friend that keeps borrowing money from you and it's not giving you anything back, and it's a friend that lies, steals from you and pulls you out at the worst time, and it sleeps with your other friends. It's a whore. So imagine all that pain there, and then imagine all the negative feelings, double the negative feelings. Now I want you to really intense those negative feelings till you feel sick. Now what I want you to do is, only as fast as you can bring it up, inch by inch, I want you to double all those negative feelings. Double all those negative feelings. And just slowly doubling the negative feelings as you bring up the hand, doubling all the negative feelings, doubling it and doubling it. And now you're calibrating to their face. And what you should start to see is, you should start to see them like stop. And they don't want to lift it up anymore because every time they bring it closer, they're getting more and more sick. So they're bringing it up and they stop. The sooner they stop, the better. And then you go, okay, right now, what I want you to do is hold it there, feel that pain in that cigarette. Now, when you're ready, just blow out and just blow it all away. Look over there, look at all these beautiful, you know, look at my picture of Shanghai up there, you know. Beautiful place, isn't it? finishing home, break state. Okay, let's do it again. Grab that cigarette again. Sorry, it doesn't like, you might not like it. Let's do it again. Take them through this about 3 times. Yeah, maybe 4 times. Yeah, and build it up. 4th time, let's repeat the process. Oh, look over there. Yeah, you should really go to Shanghai sometime, yeah? See, when you're smoking, you're focusing on the tobacco, but look at the poison it's been really causing you. Look at that, like, ugh. Meanwhile, you've got all this beautiful life and all these cities you haven't explored yet. Okay, so this is really going to set up the cigarettes to taste like shit and to have a really bad urge, okay? Okay, great. Now, that's one really good way for you to avoid cravings, by the way. Now we start to sidestep. How are you actually going to avoid any cravings as they come up? Now you want to have a little discussion about ways they already have to help them through the cravings. Now, one thing you can do for here as well is you can add 1 or 2 of your own ways. So hear their own ways, maybe increase them, and maybe teach them 2 new ways. 2 new ways to deal with cravings. Okay, how much are you craving nicotine right now? Client says, oh, 4. Okay, I want you to increase the craving just for a minute. Increase the craving so you really, you know what it's like when you really feel a craving for the cigarette. Maybe you can get it up to an 8. You know, just increase that cravings. Yep, get the client up to a high craving intensity. Great, get it as an 8. Now, with your client having an intense craving right there in your office, perfect. Now you teach them how to handle it. So you've got these other things you can do. I'm going to teach you 2 more ways. 1 way. Listen for 3 new sounds. Listen for 3 new sounds. Feel 3 new things. Smell 3 new things. Okay, and find things you can smell. Like just outside where I do it, I've got plants, so they might grab the leaf of a plant. Yeah. And the thing is, a lot of the times the sense of smell from smoking is fucked. So that gives them an excuse to get 3 different things to smell. And at the end of that, they're like, they don't want a cigarette anymore. Great. So now what's your craving like? 3. Brilliant. You see, that's 1 way. Second way, get the craving back. Maybe tell them again, get the craving back. Oh, you're starting to get the craving. Where does the craving start? This is a technique right here. Where does the craving start? Oh, it starts here. Great. So does it start low and go up? Or does it start up and go down? A lot of people find it starts somewhere and it moves somewhere. A different way is you presuppose in your language, by the way, that it moves. Yeah, you presuppose that it moves. Yeah, so most people say it moves up, but some people say it moves down. Where is it moving for you? Yeah. A different way is some people notice that it spins around, but it spins in different ways. And some people even have it spinning backwards. Which way is it spinning? So now your client's got 2 different things in here. One is that it moves, the other one is that it spins. Okay, so when your client knows that it spins or moves, simple thing is to follow a couple of the changes and say, pause. Now, spin it or move it up faster and notice what happens. Your cravings increase, okay? Now, what happens if you do it in reverse? So my client before had something here and it came up and it kind of turned around and came up. Great. Well, what happens if it turns around and goes back down? And we slowly did it and she goes, craving goes down. Exactly. That's how it works. So whatever kind of way the craving comes, all you got to do is reverse that spin or reverse that turn and you'll ease the cravings, okay? So that's 2 new ways you've taught them and they've actually done it with you. So you've taught them 2 new ways to handle the cravings. We're probably around the hour mark by now. Just in our recording alone, we're around 40 minutes. There's more to do again. And we really want to do multiple things to really blow away the chances of them going back, if you're going to guarantee it. Okay, next thing we might want to do is a typical fork in the road pain pleasure model. Pain pleasure model is kind of like relax, of course, trance like, hey, guess what? We get to do a bit of a trance now. Get them into a trance. And now down the left path, you have leaving here and resuming smoking. You know what happens, right? You resume smoking, you go down the shop, you're spending your money again. You know what happens then? You've got to smoke all the cigarettes. What happens then is you're on the old track and you're in bed. Next thing you know, you're in a hospital bed lying sick. Next thing you know, you're dying young. And that sucks. But reverse. Take them down that pathway until they're about to throw up or cry. And if you get tears out of them or crying, good on you. That emotional pain will help them quit. Now bring them back. Take them down the right path. Right path. All you got to do is take the right path. And next time you have a craving, you deal with it this way. You deal with it that way. You do this technique we just learned. You smell the flowers. You find yourself getting healthier. Your lungs return. Just 1 week from now, you're going to be breathing so much better. 1 month, all the chemicals have left your body. You're sleeping better. You're sleeping better. What's it like waking up with more energy? You're able to go for a walk, go down the beach, enjoy friends. You start to get a new sense of life. Next thing you know, like you're seeing the differences in your face. You're seeing the differences in your hands. You're starting to really smell the flowers again. This is a beautiful path. And you know what? Maybe you start doing some of those things you spoke about before. Maybe you start yoga. Take them down this really, really beautiful path. And then all it takes is for you to get in the right path. Typical pain pleasure model, really effective. One good spin on doing this with smoking though. Smokers, as I mentioned, often dissociate from the pain. So smokers generally smoke, they don't think they're going to die. It won't happen to me, right? So a slightly better way or a different way to do the pain pleasure model with smokers, do this with other things as well. A different way to do the pain pleasure model is they imagine themselves standing on the fork of the road with their friend. A friend who has watched them do many amazing things. Get one of their best friends or their lovers. And from their friend's eyes, see them. So their friend sees them. Let's say their name's Bob, yeah? And Bob's friend is Susie. So now I want you to go into Susie. And Susie sees Bob smoking. Susie sees Bob buys a new pack of cigarettes. And Susie's like, he bought a packet, he's going to do it. And then Susie watches Bob go to hospital. And Susie is at the side of the hospital bed and Bob is about to die. Now a few moments silence, come back and do the better way. But see, you do it through Susie watching Bob do it. And at the end, Bob chooses the right path. Yeah, the right path. And at the end, Susie will thank Bob and then come back in, actually come and integrate into Bob and thank Susie for helping and standing by as he chose the right path. That's a different twist on the old simple pain pleasure model. That'll be extra good for the smokers, that dissociation. Okay, next, might want to try the 6-step or N-step reframe. Old John Grinder 6-step reframe. Not many special things here, just a really standard 6-step reframe, and you're doing this on the positive intention behind smoking that was happening before. So it's kind of a bit tricky, and we want to presume that the smoking is gone. So we kind of want to frame it like, okay, you know, get the ideally the signals going on, get the person in a trance, okay. Now, what's the positive intention behind the smoking? What are the unmet needs? Have the unconscious mind create a pile of alternatives and unmet needs. Now, a lot of manuals, including mine, actually used to still, I think it might even still say, you know, have the unconscious mind create 2 or 3 possibilities, but 2 or 3 possibilities are still largely conscious. So have the unconscious mind create 20 or 25 alternative behaviors to satisfy the original intention and get even better results in life. Okay, so end-step reframe, standard protocol, 20 or so alternatives. Okay, take them through that. That'll help them finding alternative means for that. Instead of the end-step reframe, you might want to do a hypnosis there. You might want to do catalepsy, or you might want to do some other kind of hypnotic protocol. Okay, because they've come to see you for hypnosis. They might not recognize that all the previous stuff, well, except for obviously the hypnotic processes, the whole thing was bloody hypnotic trance, just different levels of trance. But they really are expecting some kind of hypno big bang thing. So your end-step reframe could be that, or using an arm catalepsy. Arm catalepsy is really normal for smokers, so you can explain the arm catalepsy automatically and share a story and have the arm going up and up and up as it finds the resources and all the different alternative behaviors, and have it going down as it integrates and integrates and integrates all these resources and come out of that as a completely changed and awakened human being. Dong. Another thing you can do right there would be the swish pattern. Swish every time they see. Remember, a good swish pattern, the first picture is associated. So the first picture should be like their hand reaching for the cigarette. Yeah? Their hand holding a pack, their hand holding a cigarette. Not them walking down to a shop, because it's not reliable enough. Them holding the cigarette, yeah? If you do a pack of cigarettes, some people will tell you to do the pack of cigarettes, but the thing is, someone might hand them a cigarette, right? So you really want to do the cigarette in the end of the cigarette, right? So do the swish on the end of the cigarette in their hand, right? And then that's the anchor, the first picture, the unresourceful picture, them holding the cigarette, and then the second picture that you're going to swish in, the second picture should be maybe 1 or 2 meters away, a picture of their ideal generative self who has gone through it all and is so far beyond the program and is like living their best life, and all the wrinkles are gone and like their shoulders are back and they're breathing better. Okay, get that ideal self. Have them wherever they're sitting. Talk about their ideal self, get the height of the ideal self, and then have them basically design their ideal self while you stand there and you say, like, well, where do they breathe from? How are their shoulders? And just kind of, have a pretend them, and by you doing this assists them with their visualization skills. So they're visualizing and you point out the things, are they standing straight, great. Now, what happens if this person comes closer or gets bigger? So you're doing a quick test here, and as you bring, your imaginary desired generative self and then closer to your client, yeah, you'll see the response from the client. So you can tell if the swish pattern will work or not by size. Yeah. You might want to say, what happens if we make this person into a black and white image? The first one. What happens if we make her even more bright and colorful? Yeah. So you get the submodalities that work for the swish pattern, and then do your typical swish. Yeah. Just you can do slingshot. Get the old picture of you smoking. Bring it over here, and the new one. And you want to make your swish theatrical. Swishes are supposed to be theatrical, especially at the start. Lady just today, the final thing was she was doing a big belly laugh. So it was a theatrical swish with the belly laugh, and I could see her reaction, right? I pulled the old her away. Her reaction was like this. Oh, look over there. Okay, sorry, come here, do it again. Okay, get the picture. Every time I would do the swish, when the desired self would come back, she would be, yeah. So because I could see the, yep, I was able to repeat the process. But when I would repeat the process last, theatrical first, I weaken off the theatrical and I still make sure she does it. Yep. And then if your client is good at doing trance, you can just say, okay, just drop down in trance. Maybe, you can walk up to them, lift up their hand, tell them to take a couple of deep breaths and leave their hand up there in the air. Yeah, so put them in a trance again, or have them go into a trance and repeat the swish in trance. Repeating the swishes in trance help generalize it out further. Okay, so a few swishes be automatic, sit back down. You know, you want to be standing up and theatrical for the swish, and then you can sit back down next to them. Now we're on the home run now. We're well done there, babe. Now, final thing to do is future pace. Future pace, have them walk through the day. See what time they wake up. You know, walk them through the day. While we're doing the future pace, we also want to do what we call a reality test. So give them some resistance, either during the future pace or at the end. So future pace, and they're like, yeah, 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to wake up, and instead of a cigarette, I'm going to go for a walk. You'd be like, oh yeah, really? Really going to do that? Get them to start convincing you. Yeah. So walk through the future pace and have them convincing you. Yeah. So you're really going to do that. Yeah. I know you can. I want you to convince me that you're going to do it. Yeah. So future pace with reality test. Walk them through the day, and you really can. So you're taking them through a future pace, and at the same time or afterwards, you're giving them a bit of a reality test. Yeah. You're having them prove it to you. Once they're super confident, reality test harder. If they're not very confident, reality test light. But by now they should be super confident. So your reality test can be like, have you really quit? How do you know? Are you sure? How do you know? Now, if they think they've really quit and they've said they really quit, well, when you ask the question, how do you really know? They go inside, they find the evidence, or they create the evidence. So the reality test makes all the change more real. And then you're done. You're done. They're convincing you that they've quit. You're like, awesome. High five. Now, next week, we still have our follow-up session. Yeah. Questions? Good. Write them in the chat window. I know that was a bit, I can see on my camera, that's actually around 50 minutes. But it is a long process. And I did this today with two people today, actually, together. And it was about 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours, but 2 people. Yeah. Now I'll have my follow-up session with them next week. Another thing, I had 2 people, reason being one doesn't drive, the other one had to drive them, and they both smoke. So I checked, and both of them wanted to quit, so I invited the other one to stand on the side and watch. And then I started to ask questions to the other side. I started to use the other person to assist the first person in quitting. Yep. Spoke to them a bit more about having people around that don't smoke, and we spoke more about strategies and had a conversation around strategies and ways. Yeah. Another thing you might want to do with them is to have them build up tolerance for others that smoke. So, you know, if you have a husband and a wife and you coach one of them through and one of them still smokes, you might want to increase tolerance for the other. Yeah. Okay. I'll leave it there. Thank you very much. Feel free to shoot questions. Feel free to write to me if you want my little intake form. That's it for now. I hope you guys the best of luck. Start coaching people through addictions. Get them through it. Do it. Effing awesome job. You can. You can. Thank you. Boom! You made it here! Good on you. Make sure you click the subscribe button below and check out the playlist at the end. If you'd like to come along to our Sunday sessions where we host a live free Q&A for our students and members, you're welcome. I'll see you there.